Welcome to Steph's World, the world according to Steph, love and light, spiritual truth, 12. Hey, I got it together today. I don't ask me why. There are some days I get it together and some days I don't. Today I do. Now, there's a lot happening in the world, isn't there? Well, there's a lot happening in our families too. I know there's a lot happening in my family, and I'll bet there's a lot happening in your family too, or with yourself. And, you know, uh, don't you just hate it when people say, well, pray about it? Well, pray about it. Or, I'll pray for you. Yeah, I know you do. You hate that. But I'm going to tell you something. Meditation and prayer does work. And the reason it works is that it gets us in touch closer to our spiritual beliefs, whatever they may be. I am not going to tell anybody what to believe. I don't even care if you don't believe in anything. I will tell you this, for you atheists, you cannot tell me that you don't believe in the laws of nature. Sorry, they are greater than you. I hate to tell you. Okay? But I will tell you this. I honor and respect what anybody believes. Not only that, I download, I've got the Quran, I've got the Bible, I've got Buddhism, a book on Buddhism, I've got all kinds of stuff. And in fact, I've got a beautiful necklace that I've ordered that you're going to start seeing me in. And part of that necklace is what is sitting on top of my son's grave. Because I found out my son was a Buddhist after he passed away. I don't know if he was afraid to tell me. I have no idea, but I was the last person he could be afraid to tell because I don't have any thoughts about this or that. What I believe in is the truth and finding the truth. That's what I believe in. Now, am I a Christian? Well, I believe in Christ. Jesus, I should say. I believe in Jesus. Absolutely, I believe in Jesus. Um, but some of my beliefs don't just come from the normal Bible. I read a lot of other stuff that's not uh, pushed, shall we say, in the religious world. That's why I'm so glad I'm not part of the religious world, because I read whatever I want to read. Now, in so doing, I learned that all the other major religions or holy books are very much alike. Yes, they are. So, pretty cool, isn't it? Now, I've talked about this before, but I never really get into it too much because I don't like to touch on it because I got a lot of different friends from a lot of different places. And I don't want to offend anybody. That is not my purpose. Not in the least. My purpose is to do whatever I'm supposed to be doing, okay? If I meditate, it's to do whatever after my meditation, whatever response I feel I have received during my meditation. If any of you really truly meditate, you understand what I'm talking about. I put out 2 videos of mine about meditation. The first one was the how to. The second one was a tough day for me, but I didn't care. I wanted to put the second part out there because maybe some of you had already started. So I need to get you ready for the next piece. It doesn't matter what my emotional situation was, I needed to do that on that day. So I did. But I'm okay now. I'm okay now. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in my family. Just a little bit. First of all, if you don't know about me, I'll start with me. I have a lumbar that has been fused in several levels, but now it is so compressed or crushed, even the radiologists cannot figure out where the fusions are anymore. That's how bad it is. And I've had a brain aneurysm. My whole neck from here to here is fused. Okay? Might be up a little higher. I don't know yet. The bottom of my incision is right about here. The top is way up here. Let's see if we can, there we go. Right there. There's the top, and it goes right down to there. Took 3 surgeries to get all this done. Now that was several years ago. And you know, it's really kind of bothers me a little bit when I read things from other people that talk about the latest and greatest stuff out on the market. And, well, you know, that's life. Steph, they didn't have that when Steph needed it, and that's life. That's just the way it is. Gotta live with it. Gotta accept it. So I guess acceptance is one of the things that is in the talk about here. Okay. So I had a brain aneurysm and I lived. And not only did I have, it was in the left quadrant. If you notice that one of my eyes droops all the time, that's from the brain aneurysm. I have seizures all the time at night. Last night I had a whopper, and I mean a whopper. And sometimes the only way I know about it is by all the marks that I find, and a hand that feels like it beat itself against me or something. I have no idea what. This was from a very bad seizure. They were going to operate on it. The thumb is actually moved over a little bit on the bone. It's not a little bit, it's a lot. They're not going to operate on it now. And we won't go into why, but I have my own ideas on why, but right now they're not going to operate on it. So me and the brace we're all part of the same arm now. Sometimes I can walk with my canes, and sometimes forget it. She ain't walking anywhere. So I got a wheelchair, and it's right over there. I don't have a ramp for it yet, so I can't get it into my car easily. If there was a man around, they could put it in there real easy. It doesn't weigh very much at all. But unfortunately, I don't have that, so my helper and I can't really bring the wheelchair with us, so um, I got to get the ramp. That's one of my to-dos. Okay, what else? So I've got 9 levels fused in my spine, and as I said, the lumbar. Now, I've had a broken neck, and I've had a broken back, lumbar. So, no, it did not break the spinal cord. That I am very grateful for. Sadly, on my bottom part, the operations failed. And the all the discs that are on top just collapsed. And that's life. And I've got a pillow behind me in case I have to lay my back down or back, because sometimes I can't sit up. My throat will expand inside, and I don't know how to explain it, but my last spinal cervical operation made my throat much tinier than it used to be. And they tried to open it up again with another operation, but it didn't work. And so that's life. I can't take pills bigger than very small. That's just the way it is. Okay, and so that's the basics. There's more wrong with me, really. But what's the point? You got the idea. And a lot of doctors call me a miracle. And part of that reason is because of my attitude in life. I actually had a doctor give me a wonderful compliment, and sometimes I want him to see me when I'm not like that. Okay, now here's the really sad parts. I am managing. Oh, and I lost my dear son. He was in the Army, and he passed away a little over 3 years ago now. Out of everything in my life, that's the worst. That was the absolute worst that could have ever happened to me. I will never ever get over it, but I do accept it better as each year goes by. But I miss my child beyond any words, known words in any language. I miss my child. Period. Okay. So that's my stuff. Now, I am not an unhappy person. I'm a pretty happy person. I live in the South, which right now it's very, very cold. It's a very unusual cold. We usually are getting ready for spring right now. We're not. This week it's already that way. It's unbelievably cold outside. Okay? Well, that's okay with me. I just stay inside when it's like that. But it does affect the back, I'll tell you that. So, definitely hurts that. Okay. But I'm happy I live in the South. And I'm very, very close to the Georgia-Florida border. So I'm real close to the Mayo Clinic. So when there will be a time when I might go there. So I'm real happy about that. Now, I have a beautiful home, and it took me a couple of years to make it the way I want it, and now I'm really happy with how I designed it. It's beautiful. So, I don't take the credit for that. Something, it's a gift that I seem to have that my mother had too. Now, let's talk about my sister. My sister has MRSA. And if you don't know what MRSA is, it's that flesh eating uh, bacteria. And it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. And it's MRSA. It stands for their medical name. But if you look it up, MRSA, you can see pictures of how it looks. Right now, my sister's on such severe antibiotics that they just literally make her sick. And, none of us can take pills the way a lot of other people can in my family. And sometimes I think it's because we're part Native American on my mother's side. My mother had a terrible time with it, and the rest of us do too. And my sister is having an horrible time with it, and she is sick as a dog right now. So if you meditate and you pray, she does want people to do that for her. She does request it. So if you do it, her name is Kathy. And that's all you need to say, because, well, you don't even need to say her name, because the Creator knows all. Okay, I have a couple of brothers that one's in Australia, and he's a very interesting person. We'll leave it at that. Very talented, though. My other brother has disappeared. We don't know what's going on with him. Have no idea. Um, what family doesn't have problems? Tell me. Know of any? Because I think if you've got, especially a big family like mine, you've got problems. Sorry, but you do. And, we're all getting older. We're not young either. We're not young kids. I'm 60, and these are my younger brothers and sisters, so my youngest sister is 12 years younger than me. So, we're all up there, believe me. So when I say my brother disappears, what I mean by that is he's made it so that nobody can call him and nobody can find out what's going on with him. He used to be available on Facebook, but not anymore. Now, I don't use Facebook, so I don't know anything about it. Okay, so my sister is battling MRSA right now, and it is extremely bad. She lives in the Chicago area, which is probably the best place she could be right now. If she were down here, she would not get the kind of help that she needs. She would have to go down to Jacksonville to the Mayo Clinic. She would have no choice, because these doctors here simply would not be able to handle the degree of illness that she has. Now, my problems are done. I'm not getting any more operations. When I say done, I mean I'm done. No more operations, no more anything. Just trying to stay as comfortable as I can stay. And they told me I'd just get worse and worse, and they were right. But in her case, she needs help. And I just pray and meditate about it and just give her as much love as I possibly can. Now, my dad, my 83-year-old father, he is living in her home right now. And the reason for that is my mother has Alzheimer's. And when they brought my parents up to their house from Kansas City, they thought that they could take care of my mother. And they found out, oops, she's a little further along than we thought. So they couldn't. So my mother's Alzheimer has gotten very bad, and she can't even remember 20 years ago anymore. That's disappeared from her memory. So, I've read up a lot about why and how and so forth. And, in the brain, in the memory area, there's a part where that's where it attacks. And it slowly but surely distinguishes away those parts of our memory. I guess it's almost like a virus or a bacteria. I don't know what it is, but if the doctors knew how to battle it, they would be. And it's a disease that nobody, it'll attack anybody. So nobody is, protected in any way. Even if you're a president, and we already had a president that had it, Ronald Reagan. And it was difficult, horrible to watch. My mother has heart disease too. Very serious heart disease. And they have taken her off of all of her heart medications, basically. And I guess I don't know what the deal is. I'm not sure what's going on with all that because I'm not up there. I'm down here. And then I have some other things going on with my other sister, and we're hoping that it'll get better. We're just praying and hoping that all will get better. So you see, my family has a lot going on, an awful lot. And within each of our lives, each of our family units, I'm one by myself, but I have friends down here, and I consider them part of my family now. And they help take care of me. So within each of our little family units, we come together and we try to help each other. And that's kind of how it works. But then on the outside, which I'm kind of on the outside partially, since I live so far away, all I can do for them is to pray and to meditate. That's all I can do. Not much more. So I do. I do my very best. And sometimes I can do research and I can suggest things. But, my family's really bad about taking suggestions. It runs in the family. Now, I'm not so bad about it anymore. I'm pretty darn good about it, So I don't mind getting suggestions at all. In fact, I like it. Now, I want to show you something. Love makes life a beautiful ride. Oh man, this is so cool. I love this. I mean, it's just a simple little thing, isn't it? Love makes life a beautiful ride. I wish I had my motorcycle right now. I'd take this and I'd attach it to the front of my motorcycle. I really would. Of course, it'd be full of bugs, but who cares? We clean that off. But isn't this cool? Well, I just told you about the really tough things in my family. And then we have this. Yeah, they're tough things. They're hard things. But that's life. That's how life is. And my family is not the only family going through tough times. Lots of families are. We still have food on our table. We still have a roof over our head. We have basically anything and everything that we need to live. And my sister is getting all the medical care she could possibly get. And I'm grateful for that. So what I can give my sister right now is a lot of love. That's what I can give my sister. And I'm going to take a picture of this and I'm going to text it to her. Because she knows that I love her with all my heart. And I wish that she could come down here and be with me. I wish she could. But maybe someday she will. She hates the cold, I know that. It runs in our family. We all hate the cold. I don't know where that comes from, but every one of us hate the cold. My mother hates it, my dad hates it, we all hate it. Okay. Today, before we hit like 40 minutes, I got something to read. Now, I am going to remind you that I am not of any religion. Okay? But that doesn't mean that I don't have certain belief systems or that I don't honor and respect and I don't get something out of some of these holy books. You better believe I do. I read them all the time. Now, one of my favorite authors is Emmett Fox. And Emmett did a thing on Jesus's the Beatitudes. And I've read a lot of these out of this. And I'm going to read a little bit more today. And I'm going to hope that it kind of ties into the power of love. Because, for one thing, the power of love is extremely important. And I'm going to have to read this fast because I didn't realize I was almost out of time. Now, one of the things that Jesus said in the Beatitudes was, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." Now, first of all, Emmett says, on the surface, this beatitude seems to have very little meaning, and what there is seems to be obviously contradicted by the plain facts of everyday life. No sensible person on looking about the world or studying history could sincerely accept this saying at its face value. And most honest Christians have passed it by in practice with a regretful feeling that no doubt that is how things ought to be, but that they certainly are not so in fact. That's pretty sad, isn't it? If that's true, that is awfully sad. And he says, but this attitude will not do. Sooner or later, the soul reaches a point where evasions and sophistries have to be discarded once and for all, and the fact of life squarely faced at whatever cost. Whatever cost. Now, either Jesus meant what he said or he did not. And either he knew what he was talking about or he did not. And so, if this saying is not to be taken seriously, we are driven to the position which no Christian will care to accept. Either that Jesus was saying that he did not really believe as unscrupulous people do, or what he was talking was nonsense. We have to face up to this situation at the very beginning of our study of this Sermon on the Mount. Either Jesus is to be taken seriously or he is not to be taken seriously. In each case, his teaching should be dropped altogether and people should cease to call themselves Christians. To pay lip service to his name, to say that Christianity is a divinely inspired truth, and that's caps, by the way. Uh-oh, I'm losing it. Hold on a minute, we can fix that. I'll be right back. Cane time. Okay, I wonder where I can plug this in. Oh, 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 let's try over here. Okay, well, plug this in. I should have paid more attention. Okay, we'll give it a minute. Frankly, it doesn't take that much time for it to start working. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I really am. You know, I wanted to finish reading that, and we're 33 minutes in. I wanted to finish reading that because it gets into some pretty cool stuff. So I guess we're going to have a part 2. Okay, well, I'm going to end it at this. I love all of you. You're really cool. Okay? Remember that. You're really cool. Okay? Because Steph said you are. But I love you. And have a great evening, day, or whatever. And I'll get my thing powered up. And we'll read some of that. Because what it has to say, I don't care what you believe in, what Emmett ends up saying in there is so cool. It's unreal. Okay? Take my word for it, please. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. If you pray, meditate, remember, Kathy, please. Love you all. Bye.